So, as part of the process of going back to my own roots, I examined why my father more or less pitted me and my brother against each other. And that is kind of what we're seeing from the federal government when they don't take charge in a crisis and put all the blame and the responsibility upon the states themselves when nobody's really prepared. The federal government is meant to unify our states, not just in time of crisis, but to lead us towards a better nation for all. Okay? I believe justice for all is part of one of the pledges that we were taught as a kid. So, what happened to that? Now it's justice for money. If you have something they want, there is no way to avoid the pressure if the government has you by the short hairs. You have no choice but to do what they want or suffer the consequences, which are not necessarily even appropriate to the amount of leverage that they have over you there. I mean, they just want a quick win. So, and they're so used to using any unjust ways to accomplish that. So, we need somebody who is willing to look at the practices in our law. And we need somebody from each state. We need a band of lawyers willing to step up and say, these are the issues that I see in our state that truly need to be looked at and addressed. Is that not what the federal government's supposed to be there for? Our representatives, but our representatives don't really look at the people, they look at the power structure. They serve the system. And, being in office makes the system serve you. And I'm sorry, but that's just wrong. Service is sacrifice, and it should be. It should be sacrifice, because if you can't set aside your personal needs, then, what right and reason do you have for being in the position that you are apart from the accumulation of power? There should be an upper limit to power, just as there should be a bottom limit to what the individual American has to suffer through in order to survive. And beyond survival, we've established with this COVID-19 crisis that we can educate our kids while still living at home. So essentially, the public school system is now charged with raising our children and teaching them everything we don't have the time to teach them. And we wouldn't know what to say anyways, except for conform. Conform to what they want you to do. It's the only thing you got. The only way to stay safe in this nation is to keep your head under the radar. Don't get noticed. When fear for your safety limits your freedom of speech, when you're not allowed to express yourself and it be accepted, then that's a danger for civilization. That's a danger for the common good. I believe that we have an opportunity here in America to restore the course of history and its progress as far as what's best for everybody instead of just those at the top. I mean, we've recreated the elite system in such a way that it's indistinguishable from medieval England, except that we've abolished slavery, sure, but what can you get a girl to do for money? And poverty creates its own set of crime. So if you force more and more people into poverty, then that doesn't encourage them to get to work. Okay, it doesn't encourage them to go find a job that's not there and waiting for them. And, your first response when you approach the government is they're going to deny you benefits. Not always, and not necessarily at the state level. It just all depends. But upon your state and how it treats its citizens. Yes, they're very tough on crime here in Oklahoma, because they don't tolerate any disruption of the peace. But it we can agree, as we have agreed as a nation, that a lot of it is about money and the collection of it. So they're willing to victimize everybody to strip them of that power, so they receive that money and they have more money to keep it going, and it becomes a self-perpetuating, self-feeding, just like a corporation. And there's no room for freedom when everything has become a machine and humanity has been taken out of it. When the court systems don't acknowledge a human's right to things like compassion and love, understanding, care, when it's become a hammer and everybody's a nail. We arrest more people than the rest of the world. We have more people in prison than the rest of the world. And we're expected to still say we're the good guys. Well, we are the good guys. The majority of us are. And that's what I'm calling for, is the good guys. But to step up, band together, and not create a new constitution and revolution or anything like that, okay? But to get the center and the left on the same page. Because, it does not, the media hype is wrong, okay? They hyperinflate everything, and that devalues everything you hear. When everything you hear is a wrongness and designed to just get you upset or outraged, somebody, an explanation that only says one side of a story is no kind of food to be fed. I mean, pizza's great, but if you never eat anything else but pizza, then, it has its own set of problems. If you live on McDonald's all the time, and that's what we're doing as a nation with our thoughts. So if we can't defend ourselves against all the misinformation, then we just become victims of a tornado without anybody to help us get back on our feet. And I say that as somebody who has gotten back on his feet. But I also I had the luxury to take the time to unravel my threads all the way back to their roots, to my own satisfaction, and restore my soul in the process. And that's why I gave you that grounding tool. That's why I say that what happened to you, whatever, I need you to return to the you that you were before they messed you up, before all the crap that was put into your head keeps confusing you. Because once you are able to take those threads all the way back and realize what happened to you, and where that means getting Freudian with it sometimes. You have to go back and figure out what happened to your parents if they weren't good. And you have to understand from their point of view before you can even forgive them for being human. Even if sometimes that humanness turns out to be really ugly.